and we don't hold spaces like this, so that would make the difference. But yeah, I think the mods should be able to communicate clearly to one another, because if not, then it becomes a problem. Because then you're throwing people out of the room that maybe the house owner is like, what the hell did you do throwing that person out of the room? You know, or then you have people that get blocked. You lock people up, which is weird to me. I wish people from the staff could find control in their own lives, rather than feeling that only control they have on the staff is to throw people down or kick them out of the room or block them. It's really quite strange. But no, Steve and I, we've been friends. Steve, how many years? At least 4, right? Our rooms never went crazy.
Sounds about right. My room, I run 2, of course, one on Saturday morning, one on Sunday morning. And it never gets out of hand, but there's a reason for that. It's because I start the room. I'm the only one that starts the room Saturday and Sunday morning. And the mods all know that I'm the one that closes the room. I'm the one that's responsible, and I'm the one that's in charge. And if the mods have any problem with that, they can do it through text. They can call me directly. As I said, and again, doesn't mean that the way I do it's going to work for everybody else, but we do not air our dirty laundry in public.
Can we get past this room comparison? Because that was not a room issue. That was simply a Brad issue. It could have been solved with one kick in the butt. This was not no Aaron.
Talking about me? Talking about me?
It's very difficult. It's very difficult because this is not my house. And I align with serendipity about removing people from rooms. Go ahead.
Tell you what, I'll stop the bragging right now.
Please do. I was going to get there, man. Like there was a Brad drop from some lady mods who they know Brad is Roger friend, and they didn't want to kick him out of the room. That was the only issue. Like, so to make this comparing rooms is stupid. Act like it was some kind of dirty laundry is stupid. And to continue this conversation is fucking stupid. Like let's talk about the blue jeans or something.
Correct. I agree with you, Kiva. The thing of it is, there are lots of different moderation styles, and a lot of them work good for different reasons. And we all individually like different moderation styles. We like, there are times I'm given a particular topic, I do like a very firmly handed moderated room. I think that's best for discussion and the exchange of ideas and being able to talk to people that you're different with and it not turn into this big crash out. But then there are times in a more social element where, current events, topics, it's casual, it's popcorn style. And, sometimes people argue, and I don't even mind the arguing and the bantering. Like, I think it's good and it's healthy. And you know what? I'd much rather people be on this app arguing and working out their frustrations than taking it out on some poor unsuspecting soul in the real life. So, I don't take issue with that. I think you go where, the conversation takes you. And you enjoy what you enjoy. And if you don't, you go find something else. We all get to curate our time here on Clubhouse and spend it the way that we want to. But yeah, so...
I have a couple things, serendipity, and then we can wrap it up because Ms. Lopez just came in and she was wondering what was happening, and I need to tell her that, difficult to mod a room when you can't speak, and comments in chat aren't always read, and when Kristen, I think it was interesting, Kristen, to mod KK to see what she would do, but then also I said, hey, you have to either demod yourself or unblock serendipity. Mojo created this script, or I did this morning. Serendipity and Mojo and I have been in here all day. For her to block serendipity when she left is untenable to me. You don't get to remove or deny someone access to a room they helped build. It's bullshit.
Right.
And then she started swinging her dick around.
Wait.
And I'm like, no, she doesn't get to.
You were blocked?
Yeah, which was fine. I wasn't going to go back anyway, but yeah, I was blocked.
I'm sorry. See, I don't know the stupid drama, and this is a really great thing of like
Right? Yeah.
Wow, that's okay. But you know what? We all learned. Okay. Wow.
And in fairness to her, I mean, I block her too. When I'm there and I'm modded, she can get into the space. I mean, it is a mutual block. It's there's no drama there. We're just two personalities that don't we clash, and we clash in not very productive ways. So it's just better to block her and not have to deal with it, you know? So like this, while I wholeheartedly love Monica for exactly what she just said, I totally get where she's coming from and how she felt about that. Like I made that decision to leave that room because I just don't like to see people crash and burn like that. Like it just breaks my heart to see people get torn up. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm a big sap like that. So it in that respect, it didn't matter, Kristen. It's not like I was like, oh my God, I can't get back in the room. It wasn't a situation like that. But that's not to discredit or take away from Monica's point, because there could be a time when that would matter to me.
Right.
You know. Right.
And also, while that was a factor that I said, oh hell no, KK is not going to curate my space for me. Also, the concern of Clubhouse glitching me out of the room and me being locked out was a huge factor too. She doesn't get to colonize my rooms. And if Mojo wants her as a mod in his space, he can with my full blessing. And those are rooms I don't have to be in.
I concur. Yeah, no, I absolutely concur.
But Don, when I moved Brad down, it was me to try to control the space, and I know it makes him angrier, and my options were limited because he wasn't paying attention to the mutes. I muted him several times, and then I moved him down, and I moved him down twice. I did not move him down the third time, and I do recommend people take responsibility, whoever did it, because, like I said,
the thing that Bradley said, I see people getting moved down, and then the mods arguing with people on stage, trying to control the stage, and all that needs to happen is a subject change and stop engaging with the people that argue like that.
agreed.
You know, that's it. Just let's change the subject.
And not entertaining it. Mm-hmm.
Right, that's right. And so I actually had something personal going on, so I stepped away from my phone. I didn't even know what was happening or the room closed or anything like that until I got back just recently. But,
Yeah, and that's what happened. Like, I was like, okay, well, this room is kind of burnt. KK's modding, and she's not. Well, she refused to unblock Serendipity, so then I moved her down. And then people kept bringing her up so she could insult me. I'm like, this is not working. Let's do a new room. And then when I tried to guide everybody to Serendipity's room, nobody was leaving. And so I demodded all the mods that who I thought could have possibly modded KK, because there was a legitimate concern she would be remodded and I'd be removed. Right.
Game theory.
I would have absolutely, because it's like, how do you figure that? And thank you for asking directly, and I'm the one who asked you out. So I really appreciate
She
that.
was pregnant.
I'm actually
and she called her
I'm
up.
actually
So, like,
glad you did that
very
experiment,
derogatory names
because
off.
it gave us
Yeah,
the
but she
opportunity
said something
that
about,
when she is in
she doesn't
power,
want to die when she's 9 months pregnant.
graceful with it.
She's
wouldn't allow
some trans
Serendipity
woman.
back in. And Serendipity doesn't want to be in, but that's not the point. The point is, it's in the muff. It's not one of her rooms. So if you're modding, go ahead, whoever interrupted.
No, I don't want to know why y'all like national like that.
Because Brad has value. Brad comes with some knowledge. So when he's on his knees, somebody talks to him.
Like not and that's what I'm talking about. And to the like national, y'all should have never let me attack and like this.
I agree, Akima. I agree. There's many mistakes made. And I didn't know about, and here's the thing too, you know, and I apologize to Dippity and to Monica. Are you going by Scarlett now, or should I call you Monica? Do you care?
No.
You don't care.
I don't think you had to apologize. I think you apologized already, and it really wasn't anything that I don't hold a grudge because you didn't know. You needed information that you didn't have, so you made choices based on what you knew. And like I said, in hindsight, it gave us lots of good information. So we're good, Kristen. And I speak for me, so we're good.
Chris, are you enjoying
You did
this?
not owe me an apology at all either.
I should have called this the Monica show,
I don't
actually.
expect anybody to know my personal history with anybody else on this app. I don't expect anybody to fight my battles. You know, I mean, people do shitty things. Somebody did a horrifically, probably the most horrific, shitty thing to me last night on this app. But you know what? You don't see me making rooms about it, and you don't see me running my mouth about it, because I have to take responsibility for my experience and what I tolerate and what I allow. That's not on anybody else, so I don't hold you accountable for that.
Okay, and so Nai's not here, and I really did, because she's not going to understand. She did her best to get that room under control. She was Herculean with the Game of Thrones music and everything. And I just knew the temperament of the people she was trying to control, and
Yeah.
and I couldn't speak.
It does sound like a voice I would
So
do,
I
right?
did the limited things that I could do. So if y'all talk tonight, tell her please don't hate Monica, and maybe check out this replay. And what I'd like to suggest is we open another
I
room
think, what was
for
the name
casual
of my
conversation with
transcript?
no replays and move on to talk about genes. What do you guys
Can
think?
we talk about jeans?
See, this is where people don't know how to meditate,
I got my
or
jean
do
PTR on.
prayer, or
But I can't
meditation, read a book.
Y'all want to continue with this room with the replay on? Y'all okay with that?
You know, I just want to say that this is like a perfect example of, you know, where a book can help calm the nerves and reduce the anxiety and change the topic in a positive direction.
Well, sure. We like those external hard drives, John.
In fact, another book I want to read is really very juvenile, but it was one of my favorites because it's a ghost story, and it's called Wait Till Helen Comes. Maybe one day we can read that. It's not very long.
Oh. I'll tell you one that would be good for Clubhouse is the next conversation.
It's called The Next Conversation?
Yep. It's how to say more with less words.
I'm actually going to write that down because I'm always
Okay, now I feel called out. Were you talking about me?
No, not at all. But it gives you a lot of good, helpful information about, like, you know, when somebody just says something that rubs you the wrong way, a more polite response to redirect their projection without really having to succumb to being nasty yourself.
Mojo.
It's really great.
I'm going to go actually look on Amazon and get that because I know how, like, I was raised in a very defensive, aggressive, competitive environment. That's just, I don't like it.
These are
And I
the
wanna
Mojo
be more
survey
graceful
questions
with
on Mojo's
responses
profile.
like that. So
What would be
thanks.
preferable
Yeah.
to the U.S. government? Reduce the government. Who is the star? Mojo, of course. In your opinion, who is Poseidon's double? Mojo for sure.
My jeans are blue. I think we need a new poll, Miss Monica.
Okay, that'll be my last vocal act for a while. So
Okay.
Should we?
I'm sure everybody's aware of the American Eagle ad and the backlash that has come from it. With Sydney Sweeney. And so, yeah, I think first we'll probably ought to get this poll up and let everybody vote in the poll and kind of see where the room stands.
Yeah, I have a problem with American Eagle, like I said. It's Megyn Kelly, though, is a complete hypocrite, though. She constantly shit talks other girls who are more attractive than her, so.
I'm pretty sure it's Megyn Kelly that got into that argument with that other girl that, let me see. Why can't I remember?
That most people's, if most people's lives at least in the Western world, is relatively good today, that increases the misery and pain of the unfortunate much more than it was 200 years ago or 300 and 500 years ago when most people's lives was miserable.
What do you mean because of the comparison? Exactly. Like, where people can. Oh, I see what you're saying, Ralph. Yeah.
Well, fuck envious people.
Hey, I want to address the stupid title of your room. Just call Islam stupid is really stupid of a stupid person who creates a room about stupid Islam or Christianity. Maybe you should read a book or something as opposed to coming on here and complaining all the time. Aren't you divorced or something? And you got a broken heart? Maybe if you read the Bible or the glorious Quran, you would find some peace and love and joy in yourself again and get yourself a girlfriend or a boyfriend and fall in love, because it sounds to me like you just got a jaded heart.
Oh God, that is so funny. That's actually cheered me up today.
Wow. Listen, John.
Yeah, what is it, silly stupid man? Stupid orange haired, ugly boy. What are you gonna do about it? You're gonna kick me from the room because you got an anger management problem too?
I have a particular set of skills. A set of skills that makes me a nightmare for people like you. If you don't apologize,
What do you think, you're Batman? You're like the Jewish Batman now? The Jews never played Batman, never.
See, you can't play, have fun with people if you don't let them do their bits too. Let someone else do their bits. You're fucking.
But see, that's what that. No, my
improvisational comedian. If you
that was a good one, wasn't it?
Other people's jokes, bro. You're a failed comedian, bro. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't know. I thought that.
Hey, Rob.
That was
Sorry.
I gotta clip all
I
this.
was like, shit, no, I unfortunately have to go to an appointment. I was just like, I don't know, stick on for the humor. I don't know. I think spaces sometimes get really serious, and it's all just opinion. But
yeah, that was good.
I think also having some humor is kind of like quality of life. I mean, you can have really serious conversations, but it's all kind of opinion, and it's also kind of. But I mean, there's some kind of humor that I think breaks up nicely. So
somebody just wanted to do a private with
that was appreciated for it.
Here's a fun one. I've been married for 23 years, right?
She's
for hits and giggles, I changed all my relationship statuses to single. I'm 51 years old. I changed all my relationship statuses to single, and the algorithms immediately started advertising fancy cat food to me. Not dick, no, cats.
Wait.
I posted the wrong link, Kristen. That's not the one. There's one of them. She talks about, I got this from my mother. I got this from my father, talking about genes as in GENES.
Yeah.
And then she ends it with, I got great genes. My genes are blue.
Oh. What does that mean? Sorry for the being dumb, but
she's just playing on the the whole gene versus gene thing, and basically a lot of people have come out and said that it's Nazism, it's promoting white supremacy, blah 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 blah.
It's the whole blue genes.
Right.
It's like the whole blue blood.
oh, okay.
Yeah, blue blood, and yeah.
All right. Watch. Interesting.
So this is John.
There's a history, right? Didn't Beyonce do that? So I don't know the history, but pardon?
Yeah, Beyonce did it with Levi.
Yeah, so there's a history with the back and forth on that.
Oh, do tell, Dawn.
What's up?
My girl has a react to Sydney's Gina.
So, I keep getting accused that I am that person point on this app, who I believe is a white guy doing a black. I mean, the PTR is irrelevant. We know that that is not the person, and it's most likely a white gay guy doing that voice. I wouldn't even call it a black voice. I don't know. I would just call it a guy doing a woman's impersonation, right? Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Okay, so I have a show open called The Point Show Comedy where I'm going to do an impersonation of Point. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going deep in the muff into character.
I definitely accused Point of being used in several rooms. This is my first time seeing you guys in the room together, exactly speaking at the same time.
Well,
I'm leaving away from the fact that
I did have a trans character on here for a while. I can't remember what it was called. Does anybody remember?
I don't. I was one of those that blocked you on sight.
Oh my God, did you really?
I told Roger out of the 299 people I had blocked, John was 297 of them.
I mean, oh, it's terrible. How dare
You wanna know why I started blocking him though? He really ticked me off. He came into a Monica Serendipity and Anne room, and when we realized it was him on his Edmund account, he got booted. And I don't even know who booted him at that point because I really wasn't on the boot Edmund on site bandwagon. But then he came back in with another one of his accounts, pretending to be a black boy. And it's not to be fair, white women. And so then he carried on a conversation with us for 15 minutes before somebody else came in and said, "Y'all know you're talking to Edmund, right?"
No way.
I was so
Black
mad at
boy.
him. I was like, "Oh, screw him."
Wait, you're claiming I played a black boy?
You did. You totally did.
I'd have to hear that recording.
That's why I started blocking you.
See, I think people may project a lot of other people onto me and not even know they're doing it.
No, it was definitely you. Because when you got called out on it, you lost your character voice.
Well, I'd have to hear that recording because it's not often that well, maybe I have. I guess I have. But, I'd have to hear it because to claim...
It's my 3 favorite white ladies, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'd have to hear the supposed recording.
Yeah,
people, huh?
and meanwhile, Monica is known as our favorite Canadian who wants to make America great again.
So, Necro, have you ever bought one article of clothing from American Eagle stores?
Yeah, I just bought some, although they were not blue jeans.
What did you buy?
I bought skinny jeans.
Wow, you bought skinny
That
jeans.
tracks.
The thing is I need to buy skinny jeans because I'm only 135 pounds, so.
Got it. Well, you could do squats. You could take protein supplements and have a New York strip for dinner tonight and pump some iron.
You know what? Maybe we can do this too. Since you did the whole reading room, we can do a walking room where for 1 hour we can all do talking and maybe not that. It could be a room from in the bus. It could be whatever. But we could do a walking room where it's let's feed Necro, yeah. Some protein shakes and we'll walk for an hour and we'll all do it together. I need that too. I say that because I need it too. You can say no.
I've lost my 6-pack. I used to be so skinny that, I pretty much was all just, pretty much just bones. So.
The egregore mind.
That's not good. That's not good.
The egregore mind.
Let's get you some more
interdimensional dopamine
Well, this is
mining.
why I don't talk very much. A long
Break
time
free
ago,
from
my
the
theory was,
gravity
this app
gulag.
said, I figured if I was going to be spending this much time on Clubhouse,
You're
I could
funny,
only be
Chris.
spending this much time on Clubhouse if I was doing something else. So I try to stay busy.
Well, see, when I'm here, I am most of the time I'm really engaged because I am live streaming myself. So I think it gives me a different experience, maybe a higher dopamine experience. Plus, I smoke cannabis, generally, and drink coffee in the morning. But all I'm trying to say is, let it go, let your thoughts go, because it's very hard to purge your memory, and you never really can. So the whole thing is, if you do want to purge your memory, you have to create new experiences and new educational moments, in my opinion. I think reading a book is meditation. So if you are emotionally discombobulated from a previous room, just imagine the previous speaker's emotional discombobulation, because when you self roast and you're really nasty and aggressive, it doesn't make you feel good because you're using very negative words and terminology. So I would say have more friendship, have more kindness, because people who are really angry and do road rage, there is no way that they can be sitting well with themselves. So I would just say, amplify the love to extinguish the pain.
I wish I could smoke pot. That's not fair. I want to smoke pot.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who could benefit from it, but unfortunately they have these things called jobs, and a lot of their jobs dictate that they cannot consume a vegetable plant, which in many ways I understand, because knowing them, they should be 100% sober doing that job.
Well, I think it's also, for me, it's just a good discipline. I don't need a crutch to take freaking good care of myself. I just need to take care of myself.
Yeah, health, wealth, love. I put it in that priority strand because
But yeah.
it's hard to maintain your health. It requires work. It's another job.
Monica, to your comment about who knew the word hun would trigger so thoroughly, it can be condescending sometimes.
Oh, it totally is. I agree.
Yeah. People can, particularly somebody my age, is looking at me and going, hun.
I once
No. I'm not your honey.
I once told my teacher, my name is Doctor, not Honey.
Shit. Well, I think that this was a great example of the conflict that it was an excellent, it was an incredible example that I can never really articulate very well of how I grew up in a Midwestern household.
Yes, there's a war after the Congress of Israel.
In a southern.
So if they're resisting for their own land or property or whatever, then it turns into a war. It's not a war. They want their property, shit back. Just like you live in America, you probably want your shit back. If somebody was to come and pull up and say, "Oh no, we have a UN partition plan, or we have this, God promises this land from 3,000 years ago, give it up," and they force you, and you try to get help from cops or whatever, and cops are in bed with these people, these criminals. They're trying to take away property, and they even file the cases. There's the cases that they have filed in the court, to try to get their, land back or whatever. A lot of the people, and I came across quite a few Palestinians on Twitter space, on here, and even in my real life, they have keys, deeds, and whatever paperwork to their properties. So I don't think I don't think we can call it a war. They just were resisting. And then the Arab army, they wanted to help them, trying to get their land back.
I guess you could call it an invasion if you wanted. Because they didn't have any land in the first place, and they invaded the existing people there to take the space, right? So I could see that being an invasion rather than a war, or an invasion that amounted to a one-sided war. I'm not convinced, though, that there's any basis to take Israel's borders from them as they stand today, but I'm not supportive of them expanding their borders. and I
Do you agree with the Nakba?
What would I have to agree to the Nakba? Like, what do you mean?
Right,
When you say you agree with it?
you said like the borders, you don't want them to expand anymore.
Oh yeah.
You think that they shouldn't go?
Well, I agree with what they did in the first place. Is what you're saying. Not from a Zionist principle, no. No, I see what you're saying. But that I would consider people that agree with that portion of it are textbook Zionists. I would say that's what Zionism kind of is the people that think that was completely appropriate. I'm not saying I'm that. I'm saying that in light of the fact that they exist already, I don't think it's appropriate to be taking it from them, but that doesn't mean that they should be supported in expanding it as well. They should not. So I guess what I'm saying, and they should lay off the Palestinians when it comes to the West Bank and the incursions on the West Bank, things like that.
Should they give back land? Should they minimize, let's say, reduce their borders?
No, other than turning over anything that they kind of encroached on the West Bank and stuff based on, in the last 40 or 50 years, maybe, yes, but I don't think they should be giving back the proper borders that exist beyond the Golan Heights and the West Bank and Gaza as they stood, after all that happened, I guess.
But there's still people alive that remember it before that, right? So.
Sure. Yeah, but the world's full of conquered people, right? Like that's where it's no different than any other part of history. I'm an American, right? We came in and wiped out the Indians, gave them this shitty little place, those shitty little places to live, and I left them their little spots of land.
I bet they resisted.
They did. But they were overwhelmed as well. They resisted, and didn't take very long for them to be vastly outgunned, right? They didn't even have guns, in fact. That was the problem. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm not a Zionist because I don't think that Israel has some inherent right to have land. I don't think they have necessarily a cultural right to that ground any more than anybody that lived in I guess what was Palestine called for a long time, like Palestine.
British meant in Palestine. Before that, it was called Philistine.
Palestine, yeah. So I don't think Israel has any right to that land over anybody else that lived there when it was Palestine. Let's put it that way.
My question is, right, if they want to live in peace, do you feel like Israel will have to give a goodwill gesture? It's about, what is it, about 8?
I think they should be forced.
There's no way of forcing them unless countries go to war.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, from a world perspective, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying that,
So my question, so do you feel like they're obviously responsible for, they are responsible for most of the stuff, in my opinion, but...
They're not, I think it's going too far to say the way that October 7th went down was acceptable. I'm not saying it shouldn't be expected.
I was going to ask you about that, right? Let me ask you this question, right? So, October 7th, you put October 7th on one side, and then you put the 70 years of the way that the Israelis have treated the Palestinians. Do you really think that October 7th outweighs the evil that Israel have done to the Palestinians?
Oh, no, I don't think it outweighs it, no. I think that
why is it like
I think the Palestinians, I think Gaza should have been expected to face some incredibly awful consequences of October 7th. But that doesn't mean that it somehow is worse than...
You can say the same for Israel. Israel should have been expecting the October 7th.
Right. But I have no... I agree with that, but I agree with that, but I have no respect for the way that October 7th was actually... the engagement actually took place. I have no respect for the way... I consider how October 7th was handled as textbook terrorism. They targeted civilians on purpose. They tortured for reasons of fear. So if they would have handled it more professionally from a war perspective, they're asking me questions, so I'm answering them. I've been answering questions for a while.
Wednesday, hang on, let him finish, and then you can speak.
So I don't agree with the way that October 7th occurred. I don't agree with what they decided to do for October 7th. If they would have engaged in some kind of official, if they would have targeted military assets or something, then I wouldn't think that way. But they didn't. They targeted civilians on purpose, which is straight up terrorism. Can you argue that Israel targets civilians? I guess, but I can't. October 7th was blatant. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm not surprised it happened. I'm not surprised Israel responded the way they did.
Teddy, when is the wants to speak, Teddy?
Well, that's it. I don't know. I think you understand where I'm going with it.
Thank you, Mike. How are you, Mike?
I'm good, thanks.
Oh, that's good. So what I wanted to say is why I don't if you read October 7th, you know that the a lot of the IDF soldiers ran into the kibbutz, and they actually used the civilians as shields, and it was back and forth. They were firing back and forth with each other. Now, did some Hamas target civilians? Yeah, we could say that. But what I saw and what I've read is that the IDF soldiers didn't stand and fight. They ran. They ran into the kibbutz like cowards, putting the civilians' lives in jeopardy because they knew Hamas was there. Now, if our military would have done that, Mike, which they wouldn't have because our military is well trained, you would have a problem with it, right? If the army runs away from because it was surprise. Oh my God! Even though it wasn't really a surprise. I mean, there's evidence to show that Egypt warned Israel 2 weeks prior. A lot of people I think a woman in the Knesset warned higher ups that they were planning something, and they didn't listen to her. And it took 6 or 7 hours for them to even control the situation, which is crazy to me because they have all this weapons that us United States citizens buy for them with our tax dollars, right? So I don't know. I don't believe that. Also, you said something about. Oh,
wait! Before you go on to that, can I make a point about what you just said, and then you can finish the other point? Okay. Everything you said is I think pretty much true. It doesn't obfuscate, whatever that word is, Hamas for targeting civilians. In other words, everything you said is true, and it doesn't change the fact that they went over the border and targeted civilians directly in a terroristic manner. If it ended up where if Israel failed to respond the way America would, that has no bearing on whether or not I think the way that Hamas engaged in the action was acceptable. Period. I mean, none of those things you said changed that whatsoever. That was all after it started. That was all after a bunch of kids at a fucking concert were slaughtered like fucking pigs.
I do want to add the context in Wednesday, if I may. So 7th of October, they came out with $13.95. That was the original number. Then they went down to $11.95. Then they went down from $11.95 to $6.95 civilians, 500 IDF soldiers. Then you have the Hannibal Directive was applied as well. The amount of and they couldn't tell from the Palestinian bodies to the Israeli bodies. That's how burnt up these bodies were. The Apache helicopters were used. We have testimony from Shalomi, the guy that's on this app that was a captive, right? He after this question, he said that I said, was the Hannibal Directive applied? Were they shooting bullets? He said yes. While they were taking him in, he was kidnapped on 7th of October. You have what you call it, and they could not tell for about a week or so because the Apache helicopter carries the automatic what is it called an automatic weaponry that holds up to about 1,200 rounds. And they did apply the Hannibal Directive. There's people at the party. I don't know if you know about the open carry law, Mike, inside Israel. So if you have served in the military, you actually have the open carry law, where you would you could, and some of these people, they even walked over to their cars to grab their weapon. What else was it? Oh yeah, 10 days prior to the attack, Egypt warned Netanyahu that there's going to be an attack.
Did you see? Listen, none of this fucking matters though. None of it changes a fucking word that I just said. It just does. You guys keep doing this. I don't care if it's 1,100 or 1,300. I don't care if they had access to weapons in the cars. I don't care. I saw it. It was filmed. I saw it with my own fucking eyes. I watched The Last Dance. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Okay? Now, I'm not saying you have to become an Israeli sympathizer. Hang on. I'm not saying you have to be an Israeli sympathizer by watching that. But what I am saying is anybody in the right fucking mind can see that that was a bloodbath that was aimed directly at civilians, not military targets. And I have absolutely no tolerance for that. Zero. I think that there needs to be civilization in the world, and I think countries need to act in non-terroristic manners. We can argue about whether or not Israel is acting in a terrorist. We can do that. We can do whataboutism all day long. It doesn't change October 7th and how it went down and what they did and how they did it, and the fact that they're now suffering horrible consequences because they decided to target civilians as a bunch of fucking terrorists in a disgusting manner. You can. I don't see why you have to justify that in order to also think what you guys think. Stop justifying it. It's disgusting.
Hang on a second, please. Hang on. So, who do we blame for the Hannibal directive that they killed their own people and the hostage?
Who do we what? Sorry, what'd you say?
You do know Hannibal directive was applied, right? On 7th October?
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
Okay. Hannibal directive, the first time it was applied in 1986. And then the Hannibal, they didn't share it with the public. And then suddenly, in 2005, according to Haaretz, this reservist, he wanted to serve in the IDF. And, he found out about Hannibal directive. Hannibal directive is killed your own and killed the person that...
I'm not buying that. If you want to show me some kind of evidence, that's fine. I'm just saying they couldn't identify the bodies because they were burned badly by Apaches does not mean that happened.
Yoav Galan, the defense minister said it. It was applied. He was a former Israeli defense minister.
I don't care if one person said it. I'm still not buying it. I need more evidence than the flapping gums of one person. There's all kinds of fucking lunatics, including the U.S. government. So
I can provide you the chopper videos, literally, and the testimonies from Shalomi. There's Shalomi on this app. Ask him.
So again, what you're doing, you're justifying how Hamas engaged on October 7th by saying Israel also shot their own people.
Yes, Israel did.
Yeah, again, it doesn't change. It doesn't change what Hamas did. They're really targeted whatsoever.
Hang on. So this is why we have a problem.
Whataboutism is crap. Listen, you can condemn Hamas for what they did and think everything you think. You do not. It is not either or.
No, not think. I'm giving you data. I'll give you data.
But listen,
I'm not going based on bullshit. I don't talk about the bullshit. I'll give you the data. Hang on.
We do condemn the killing of civilians, but October 7th was justified. Maybe the method is not justified if civilians were...
Targeting civilians is never justified by any country ever. Ever, fucking ever.
Are you missing what I'm saying? Like, are you listening?
I don't care. I don't care. When you say it's justified, you're done. You said it. No, it's not acceptable.
The cause is 100%.
I don't care. No, it's not. There's civilians have nothing to do with it. No. Brother Amir, if they want to target civilians after they join the military engagement, I don't need to listen to the rest of it because what you started with, the entire premise is bullshit.
Hang on.
We condemn it and then we say God bless it. Fuck you. Why was it disingenuous? I posted video. You want to stop being disingenuous? We can have a conversation.
Hang on. So I put the link in the chat for Hannibal directive. This is a testimony of Commander of IDF. And Brother Zero put in the chat. You can look up the
actual helicopter.
The actual helicopter. He got connected. Yes, he got connected with the people on the ground using WhatsApp groups and whatnot. And this is all Israeli sources. And if you're going to deny the Israeli official saying this, the commander of IDF said it. Yoav Galan, he was the defense minister of IDF, the Israeli government. I don't know what to tell you, Mike.
Okay, so again, whataboutism? Explain to me what the Hannibal directive has to do with Hamas beginning an attack on October 7th by targeting civilians, kids, at a fucking concert directly. No. Tell me what that's it. Now later, Israel said we're going... I don't care if you say Israel said... Hang on. I don't care if you say Israel said they'll shoot their own people rather than us be taking this video.
Let him finish, and then you can go speak.
Even if you say Israel... initiated a directive after they were attacked on October 8th to kill civilians, Israeli civilians, directly rather than allow them to be taken as hostages in Gaza. Then that's a conversation to be had, and that's something to be investigated, and that's something to be tried to try them as war criminals if they do that. At the same time, it doesn't fucking change what Hamas did as completely unacceptable. It doesn't. You can't justify it. There's no justification by doing whataboutisms. It's ridiculous. This guy before said, we don't support what they did, but they had a right to do it, and God bless October 7th. That means you do support. Well, that means you do support it. So you're lying. You're fucking lying.
I didn't say that.
That's not what's wrong. He did. He's a guy that is a fucking liar. He's a liar.
Hang on. The mic is on zero. Please allow Zero to respond, and then Abu, you can go up.
Someone needs to change that guy's diaper.
Yeah, this is all. That's stupid. If you want to go there,
Can you please respond to the point instead of doing the personal attacks?
Yeah, that's dumb.
Well, there it is. There it is, right there. More people were killed by the IDF than were killed by the freedom fighters on October 7th. More people were killed by Israel. More. Take a look at the fucking video, dude.
You're a fucking
Look at the video.
Fucking
Look at the video. I posted the video.
You're a fucking
Look at the video. I posted the video. Look at the video. Look at the video. Look at the video. The Apache helicopters are just wiping these people out, dude. Of course I'm lying. Of course I'm lying to you. Of course I'm lying. Everything to you is a lie.
No, not everything to me is a lie.
Everything is a lie. Everything is a fucking lie.
Will you shut up Zero for a second? For 1 second? Amir, I have made a bunch of concessions in describing to you what I think. I am obviously not a Zionist based on everything I said, okay? Now, can you believe one thing and still not believe that Israel has a right to be engaged in the war today as they're doing it?
No, they do not.
You can do both.
No, they do not. They do not.
That's ridiculous. It's
They
either
do
or.
not have a right to be.
I have absolutely no nuance.
Dude, the United Nations, the United
Dude, that
Nations
wasn't
has
for
said.
you. That was for Amir. I don't care about you.
The United Nations has said.
Hang on, please.
Ask him what the definition of
Mike,
war is. What is the definition
Mike,
of war?
hang on. Mike, so how do you suppose them to get their own people back? Do you know what the objective of Hamas was? The objective of Hamas was to go in there, grab IDF soldiers to, so that way they can exchange them for their own people that had been locked up under administrative detention without due process for years, and even including children.
What I saw them grab was, in one case, a girl that was tall, long dark hair, and she had her legs broken through on the back of the pickup truck. She wasn't a soldier. So I don't buy that at all. That wasn't who they targeted. They targeted civilians. They ended up fighting some soldiers after 6 hours, and Israel was negligent and not responding faster. But you know what? I'll even give you this. Israel created Hamas on purpose. It's Israel's fault, just like the United States created Afghanistan. These countries do this. They go in for their best interest. They put people in place, and it bites them in the ass later. America's done it multiple times.
So, Mike, I'm going to say this, and then we have the mic. I'll provide you an article from Times of Israel. Lieberman, this is one of the Knesset members. He came out, he said Netanyahu was giving weapons to ISIS, Abu Shabat. That's actually identified.
Okay, so this is Amir. He's a potential terrorist, and he's a terrorist supporter operating in Clown House. And as you heard Abu said, he praises the October 7th attacks. You will hear all kinds of disgusting propaganda in this room. This is a propaganda crafting course.
7th of October was multiple gangs. It wasn't just one gang that did that 7th of October. So go on, Abu.
Man, he said after 6 hours, Hamas started fighting with some IGF soldiers. So where were the ones patrolling the border? Was there no one at the border? How did they start fighting after 6 hours?
Apparently, it was some kind of holiday in Israel, and they didn't respond because they were basically not literally negligent.
Okay,
they were flat out negligent.
Sure.
Again, what you're justifying is they had a right to have it happen because they weren't defending their borders. That's stupid. Again, that's stupid.
Just listen to your answer, yeah? You're telling me that one of the most expensive
I've been to
Israel.
Israel.
One second, Fatima. One second.
What?
You're telling me that one of the most expensive borders in the world, a highly equipped border, they're accusing the other side to be terrorists.
They had a holiday on October 7th and there was no one at the border?
Bro, can I add Abu? Can I add to
I didn't say there was nobody at the border. There was obviously nobody. Yeah, there was a holiday, and I think their trips were reduced because of that. I didn't say they had nobody at the border.
Holiday or not, in every corner, holiday
because
or
of the
fucking not
holiday,
holiday,
Fatima,
there
can
is
you
in
relax for 1
every
second?
corner in
Fatima, can you relax for 1 second?
Fatma, just hang on. You just came in. You don't know the context of the story that we're going back
yeah,
and forth.
no, the context.
You don't know.
Security.
Fatima, hang on. So recently, there's a testimony from an IDF commander, IDF soldier. I even played it in front of Amos. Amos is Israeli kibbutz. The IDF says on the TV, he says, we were told not to show up for work on 7th of October at the Gaza checkpoints. I'll provide you that video as well. I came across it a couple of days ago. I was in a shock and this was all self-inflicted 7th of October attack. It had nothing to do with Hamas. It was all nothing.
100% believable. I've been to Israel. There's fucking IDF in the fucking desert, bro. How you gonna justify there's no IDF on the fucking holiday? People celebrating like it's the most dangerous place in the world. Like it's fucked up. No, this is the step up shit. These people were told not to be there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and post a video of the man testifying in the Knesset, and he says that he received orders. Listen, can you hear me?
We're not talking to you. We're talking to Mike Fatima.
Okay, listen. Israeli soldier testifies to Knesset committee. We received orders from Golani Brigade commanders on October 7th to cancel all patrols along the Gaza border from 5:20 to 9 a.m. So I'm going to go ahead and post it when he talks about how he was ordered to not patrol. And this is the guy that says that one of the excuses was that there was a sniper. And he says, yeah, but I was there. If there were a sniper, I would have seen it. So this is a guy testifying to the Knesset that he was ordered by the Golani Brigade to stand down and do not patrol between 5:30 and 9 a.m. on October 7th. And you can watch the video.
Amir, I'll find this file, right? It's like some lawyers in the UK. They've documented and put in an Excel spreadsheet of every single thing that all the Israeli government's officials have said, the soldiers have said, everything, and it's got all the evidence for it. I'll find it. I'll send it to you.
Lucas, thank you, brother. Thank you. Send it to Mike. Mike, would you be able to, or would you be okay reading the file that was compiled by the UK officials, the lawyers and whatnot, what they have said and what they have done, and relate to 7th of October?
Sure, it's not an end-all be-all, though. Listen to testimony of people. There's a shit ton of, there's all kinds of fucking fruit loop people that say shit on all sides of all issues, and I don't take any one person's word for it, whether or not they work in the government. It's irrelevant. So if there's evidence, you believe, if there's evidence of more people agreeing to that, and then there's some circumstantial and some physical evidence otherwise, but one person saying something is not going to change my mind now. It never would on any side of any issue. There's so many fucking fruitcake bullshit people, even people in the government. It's kind of like if one person in the Israeli government said, we're trying to genocide the Gazans. I wouldn't say the entire government is agenda is genocide. I get that you believe that. I know. I use this example, and I know you believe that. I mean, you're pretty transparent. It's not too hard to figure out what you think.
What up, Scotty boy?
Hold on. If it wasn't the genocide case, ICC would not have issued the fucking, the arrest warrant for Netanyahu. ICC goes based on data and facts. ICJ, they played as clips as well. Did you see the ICJ trial? What the amount of crimes that they have committed, the army? So they have to base it off videos and the evidence that they have. We have. You see what I'm saying? We have to base our opinion on the evidence that we have. How the hell are you gonna come up here and like IDF commander, a chief of defense minister of Israel is saying that no water, no food, the intention is right there. Apparently, he said it. Hannibal directive was applied, and it's part of the idea of military: kill everybody that's taking your own, kill that person, and kill your own. That's called Hannibal directive. I want you to go look it up, do your research. It's a lot of evidence out there. that shows the Hannibal Directive was applied on 7th of October.
Well, there's
way more people.
There's a few people in this room that it's impossible to change anything about what they think, and I'm not one of them. Okay, so the rest of you are like it's like banging my head into a fucking brick wall because you're disingenuous and you're not open-minded enough to explore things that are not just blatant fucking propaganda. And I'm over it, dude. You guys are intolerable. It's an intolerable group of closed-minded, stupid people. It's an intolerable group of stupid, closed-minded people.
Extra
First, you don't want to accept any. Well, you drive me nuts, to be honest with you, Fatima. So first, you don't want to accept anything coming out of like any high-ranking official or whatever government.
I didn't say that.
Like, in other words, you did say that, and now you're saying you don't want to believe us because it's all propaganda. So where do you?
In other words, I didn't say that. You adding in other words doesn't mean I said it.
Sure. So where do you get your information from?
Evidence. More than one person. Not hearsay. All kinds of evidence. There's tons of evidence on all kinds. There's a lot of evidence. Multiple sources, multiple articles, multiple sources. Reuters, Associated Press, CNN. All of it. Wednesday.
My depression's gonna get high. I'm worried about you.
How are you assured they're not?